Hello, welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partner Sprocket Innovation in Paducah and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. Welcome to episode 189 of 10 at 10. We are happy to have you back. Today we're going to talk about, frankly, something that's not very much fun. It's not those exciting things that we're going to talk about, but it's one that's very important. If you have watched 10 at 10 over the last 6 months, you have heard me talk about data breaches after data breaches after data breaches, that this company has had records stolen and this company has had records stolen. Recently, there was a clearinghouse of sorts that had billions of records stolen. And the point of all that is, if your information has not been stolen, it's frankly just a matter of time, unfortunately. And I hate to say that. First of all, your data has probably been stolen. Some of your data has probably been stolen. What parts of your data, how much of your data, that's a different discussion. But the odds of you not having any of your information stolen at any point is pretty low. But the question becomes, what do you do? Let's assume that your data has been stolen. Let's assume for the discussion, or at least most of the discussion today, that you've been the victim of a data breach. What do you do about it now? That's the question. What do you do about it now? So I want to talk about what to do about it now. That's what we want to talk about today. So first of all, how do you know? Well, how do you know that you've been a victim of a data breach? First of all, there's a website. Have I been? It's a P, but you pronounce it. Have I been owned? There's the website on there. If you go to that, you put in your email address. It'll tell you whether or not your email has been seen in the number of sites that checks. It has, as I look at the website right now, it has 14 billion accounts that it is monitoring on 803 websites that have been data breached. It has recently added tracky accounts, 300,000. It's added, I guess the big one is the National Public Data account, which is 130 million, and a SOC radar accounts, which is 282 million. So there's a lot of accounts that it's monitoring. You can put in your email address and it'll tell you whether or not you've been part of it. And it goes back to LinkedIn and ones that for a while ago. So you can see if you've been a victim. Also, most states have laws and federal regulation requires that if you're the victim, if you're a customer and you're the victim of a data breach due to that company's failure, that they have to notify you. So you've probably received notification of that as well. I know that I certainly receive those on a pretty regular basis, and usually those are in the mail to the address on file. So you can find out if you are. If you have been the victim of a data breach, what do you do? First of all, stay alert. And frankly, you should probably stay alert, period. But if you know that this account has been part of a data breach, stay alert and especially keep an eye on that account. What's going on with that account? What's going on with that company? Anything that might be associated with that company, just stay alert and keep an eye on, because that's the vulnerable data. Now, does that mean that something's going to happen with that account tomorrow? No. For example, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield had a data breach. I don't know. It's probably been 10 years ago now. That data never came out on the dark web, and it's because a nation state stole that data to collect the information, or at least that's the belief, not to resell that data. So it depends on the hacker's goal and purpose, but stay alert and make sure you keep an eye on it. Second, and this one's really important, secure your accounts. So whatever account that you have or accounts that you have with the organization that has had a data breach, secure your accounts. You have heard me say these three things probably 100 times on 10 at 10. Don't reuse passwords. Consider using a free password manager and enroll in two-factor authentication. So if your bank, for example, is the victim of a data breach, first of all, immediately change your password. Immediately change your password to something unique, not a password that is on another account. Make it a unique password. Second of all, because you're going to have a unique, complicated, strong password, you're going to have trouble remembering all these unique passwords. So you can add a password manager so that you can store that securely. And we've talked about password managers on here before. Third, enroll in two-factor authentication. What that does is adds, and you've heard me talk about it, it adds an extra layer of protection. So if your password gets stolen in a data breach, you still have to have that second factor. You still have to have that phone. You still have to have that device to be able to get into your account. Now, is it possible that a hacker can mirror your device? Absolutely, it is. But it's another barrier for them to get into your account. So you've got that piece. Enroll in two-factor authentication. Make sure you use a password manager, and don't reuse don't reuse passwords on any of your accounts. And then I would probably go ahead and initiate a fraud alert. So a fraud alert will notify any lender that's processing a credit card application in your name that you may have been the victim of identity theft or identity fraud. So they'll go ahead and have to go through some extra steps to verify that that's really you. So that's something that you could go ahead and do if you believe that you're the victim of a data breach. Actually, let me back up. If you have been the victim of a data breach, go ahead and do that. And it's just extra steps that they'll take. Next, monitor your financial and credit reports. Now, I personally monitor my credit report and my financial reports on a pretty regular basis, regardless of data breach notification. I think this is a good step. Actually, the next few steps I think are good steps for you to do, and maybe all of these steps really, period. Just keep an eye on your credit report. If you see something fishy on your credit report, then maybe you've been the victim and you just haven't been alerted. So that's going to be a good way to do that. Next, freeze or lock your credit report. So if somebody tries to open an account in your name and your account has been frozen, then it's going to make it much harder for them to open an account. It will frankly make it impossible for creditors to even view your account or to look at your application. So it's going to make it a way to, that's another way to protect yourself. Personally, I leave my credit frozen just in general because I'm not opening any new accounts. I'm not taking out any loans. I don't need that information, or I don't need anyone to have that access right now. So I'll just lock it and keep it that way to begin with. That is something that is just a step I take. And we'll talk more about that in a couple of slides. And then finally, stay vigilant to signs of scams. You should always be vigilant of scams, but just assume that your information is out on the dark web. So people are going to know that you're a customer of your bank, or people are going to know that you're a user of LinkedIn, or a user of PayPal, or a user of eBay, or an Amazon user, or whatever user. So what can they do with that information? Well, they can send you an email that looks like it's coming from PayPal, and even maybe use your name, maybe even use your account information. But just be skeptical that it's a scam. Don't click a link in an email. Don't give any additional information. Don't, they may even have your mother's maiden name. They may have your, whatever your secret question is. They may have all that information. So you just have to be super careful. If PayPal asked me to do something, so let's say that I have a balance due on my account. Click here to go pay my balance. No, I don't pay that. I don't click that link. I open a browser and a new window in my browser. I log into PayPal the secure way that I do it every time. Then I go look at my balance once I'm in my secure account. I never click the link in the email. I go a different way. So ultimately, how do you do that? There are three credit bureaus: TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. You can subscribe with them, one of them or multiples, to look at your credit, to freeze it, to lock it, to do whatever you want. You also can use LifeLock to monitor your credit report, your credit score, lock your credit credit report. You can do a lot of different things with services. If you've been the victim of a data breach, odds are that they're going to probably provide you some credit monitoring for a period of time. Go ahead and take advantage of it. But what I'll recommend, and this is where I'll close with today, is that if you have the ability to afford it, to go ahead and do this now. I subscribe to LifeLock because I want to keep an eye on things before they get bad. Matter of fact, I'll get alerts. This is not my dashboard of LifeLock. It's one I downloaded, a screenshot I downloaded off the web, but I get alerts if my information is seen on the dark web. I get alerts if there's an issue. I get alerts for me to be able to monitor and keep track of things. So I recommend that you do that as well, if at all possible. Anyway, if you have questions, please reach out. We went really long today, but this is really important. And this is a question that I get a lot. What do I do? This is what you do. These are some steps that you can take now, some steps that you can take after you're the victim of a breach. But I recommend that you do that as soon as possible. If you have questions, let me know. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week back here on 10 at 10. Thank you. Bye.